Stay quiet. Do we have a few? Do we have 2 minutes? We're gonna warm up, right? Good morning and welcome back to Ogre to see the match of Ogre Moments women's team taking on Hyperflick from Riga. We never went anywhere. I'm Dmitry Doroshenko calling this game and happy to welcome you all here on the stream, online, watching it live, where we see Ogre scoring their first goal with a clean hold. Mikulica there with a nice grab in the end zone, maybe with a little bit of a contact, and Ratina wasn't overly happy with the amount of contact she received in the end zone as that grab was happening. But regardless of that, it is still a point for Ogre Moments. Now let's see if Hyperflick can respond with the same. Krumina now with the disc, high take on the far sideline, surveying her options. Yeah, quite a lot of people are cutting into the same space, but Ratina finds the disc, now goes back to Krumina, who finds Ozolina on that near sideline. Up the line again, Lapnica, a hammer to Ratina. Nice point, very quick point again. So 2 minutes, 2 points, 1-1. And we are on serve. No breaks at the moment, no turnovers as well. Love to see that, of course. And a little bit of a background before this match. Ogre Moments, ladies, are coming out of a win over DTS yesterday morning, and a loss to Tartu in the afternoon, while Hyperflick ladies has not found a win yet. They have lost to Salaspils in the first game of the day, and then lost to Tartu in an early afternoon yesterday. A format of the women's division is there are 5 teams, everybody's playing against everyone, so in a round robin, and then the best 2 will be playing against each other for the finals, and the 3rd and 4th best teams after the round robin will be playing in for the 3rd place, while the team that is the last in the standings after the round robin, is not going to be playing, unfortunately, and will take the 5th place in the Baltic Ultimate Club Championships indoors. We see multiple turnovers, unfortunately, on the field. Not something that either of the team wants, but Moments are able to get this offensive possession and this hold in the match. And finally, no, not finally, not yet, not just yet. There's going to be another turnover. Unfortunately, Mikulica could not run down that disc in the end zone. And yeah, there's been multiple turnovers on both sides. I think at least 2 or 3 on each side. And Ozolina now looking for a first break of Hyperflick. And that was taken away by Gulba there, who read the play pretty well and went in front of Lapnice, who was who's asking questions of her teammates. Why did she try to throw that? Regardless of that, moments after that, Pastore found herself in the end zone, looking at a hammer coming down on her, and she was able to catch that disc and scored that quite dirty offensive hold. Now, Hyperflick on offense. Krumina is fielding that pull. Finds Ozolina. Back to Krumina. Ooh, difficult grab, and very difficult grab as well for Ozolina. But she goes back to Krumina. These two ladies are handling pretty well now. Ratsina going upline. Gets the disc and goes to newer player, Marta Baidina. Unfortunately, a few passes later, that disc was thrown away, and it's on the floor now. Ogre is looking at their first opportunity for a break. Kalavanova with the disc, who puts it deep for Pastore, who is screaming as the disc is bouncing off her hands, but she is not able to control it and not able to score at that point. So Hyperflick have another opportunity for an offensive hold. Ozolina going to Krumina, to her teammate, to her trusted handler. Now Ratsina on that far sideline, running out of space, but still grabbing the disc. Ozolina, high disc. Pastore was right there for the defense, but Ozolina had a better read and managed to grab it. Back to Krumina. And disc was Baidina and to Ratsina, and who threw a scuba, a little bit over ambitious scuba. Both of them are kind of laughing it off. I know that Ratsina really wants to score with a scuba, and she, I think, still finds the best way to do that, but that was not the case this time, and Ozolina was not ready for it, or maybe not in the right place there. And Pastore there managed to run away and do the same thing that Ozolina did to her slightly earlier, and to get it, get that high disc unfazed by the defense. Ooh, great athletic grab. Nice athleticism there, demonstrated by Gundaga Pastore on the Moments side. And that is a first break by Ogre. We've started with offensive holds, 3 of them, but now Moments managed to find the defense and managed to convert it into a break. 3-1. Early days of the game. Only about 8 minutes have elapsed of that game. Hyperflick player there, unfortunately throwing that disc into the ground, into the floor, and that is another opportunity for Moments to convert. Mikulica with the disc finds Kalavanova on that far sideline to Samiete, who throws it to Pastore. into the end zone for another break. 2 breaks in a row, unfortunately, for Hyperflick. Fortunately for Ogre, who are managing to convert these 2 opportunities. Hyperflick would want to find their rhythm and do the same thing as they did in the very first point of the game and get a clean hold there. Nice throw from Kruminia to Lapniece. A bit of a travel was called, but yeah, no harm done. Lapniece finds Rumberga there, who finds the handler Kruminia. To Lapniece again, who throws it into the end zone, and to Baidina, but she was not able to hold on to that disc. I think it bounced off her hands, maybe coming with too much of an angle for her. A difficult one to grab, of course, and that is another opportunity for Ogre for, for a score. There was a double coverage on Kalovanova and that near sideline, but she managed to close her hands on the disc, and maybe a little bit too much contact for Kalovanova. Not sure if there is anything being called, but 2 players went on a pincer move on her. Still, she retains possession over there, and Kruminia managed to step in front of Pastore on that near sideline and knock the disc away just before Pastore's hands closed, and that's another opportunity for a hold for Hyperflick. Rumberga goes back to Kruminia, who finds Racina. She's nodding to her receiver there in the end zone, but that is closed, and she elects to go to Baidina, who finds Lapniece, and she finds Kruminia up the line over there. Another hold for Hyperflick. Not a clean hold, difficult one. There, Kruminia was celebrating it quite emphatically. I think she was not the happiest. Maybe she wasn't the happiest about the previous few points of Hyperflick, or maybe of her own performance. Regardless of that, it is still a hold. And now Moments will go back and try to do the same, maybe a little bit cleaner though. Pastore now with the disc. Throws a blade around to Gulbe, who manages to tow it into that near sideline, and Mikulica under lots of pressure from Engele. But still holds on to the disc, finds Pastore, who finds Samiete in the end zone for another clean hold for Ogre ladies, or Moments. It's surprisingly very quiet in the hall at the moment. This silence is almost eerie. Maybe not as much celebration going on, and as the many of the open division teams are still arriving into the hall, because we only have three. We have 3 female matchups to start the day. It's a bit quiet in the hall, but definitely not quiet on the field, and we hear a lot of instructions being shouted by Mikulica on the sideline to her teammates. And now, great grab by Pastore. She finds, she manages to hold on to that disc. That was quite difficult, and then she finds Samiete in the end zone, and I think it was number 23, 23, Butane? Yes, Butane, who threw that disc. That was quite difficult to handle for Pastore, but she manages to recatch that and hold on to it in the end. and then released that disc for Samiete in the end zone for another score, another Samiete score. I think it's 2 in a row for her now. 2-6 Moments are scoring another defensive defensive break. And Hyperflick are starting again. Evelina Goldova now, normally a Ogra player, but plays for Hyperflick for this tournament. She finds her player, and then she finds herself in the end zone, not able to hold on to that disc over there from Krumine. It was a little bit too high for her. Yeah, I think Goldova prefers to have slightly lower discs to try to go to the floor for them. But that high disc was a little bit too high for her to handle. Now, Ogra ladies once again on the counter-attack. Pastore throws a high disc for Kalavanova. She managed to read it pretty well. One-handed grab. A difficult grab. I think she's, yeah, her face is showing that it was not easy for her to handle, but she still came down with it pretty well. Managed to toe it in just in front, just in the end zone. Didn't really touch any lines, any out of bounds area for another break, and it is a halftime. As you've heard the buzzer going, 7-2. Hyperflick only having 2 offensive holds to themselves. Ogra ladies have 2 clean offensive holds, and I think 5 breaks in between. Yes. Hyperflick will be hoping to do better. They managed to generate a few turnovers out of Moment's side, out of Ogra side. And of course, they would hope that this will continue and they will maybe able to convert on one of the turnovers that they may generate for Moments. Moments will try to stay clinical, will try to be close on the defense and of course convert all of their offensive holds and convert the opportunities into the breaks, as we all do, of course. We are getting ready for that second half of the game. Moments, Mikulica is getting ready to pull. That pull is fielded by Ozolina, who threw it maybe a little too fast to Krumina. She was surprised by the speed of that disc yeah, then she threw a hammer to Lapnitz, who tried her best to hold on to it, but I think it went right between her hands and into the defender, who knocked it away in the end. Then Mikulica picked it up, found Pastore, who found Samiete. Near the end zone, on that near sideline, basically in the corner. Kalavanova wasn't sure if that disc was for her. Did not elevate for it, just let it sail past her. She thought that there might be another receiver behind her, but that was not the case, and that disc is back with Hyperflick now. Racina on that far sideline throws a high disc to Lapnitz, who emphatically grabs it out of the hair and goes over Samiete a little bit. So and then finds Ozolina on that near sideline. Ooh, nice footwork, fancy footwork by Ozolina in the end zone for another score. 3-7. It is not a clean hold, but a hold nonetheless. and Hyperflick are back on the board in the second half. Hyperflick now. Let's see what they can do on the defense. Yeah, they're setting up the defense pretty well. However, Pastore there, running alone, manages to throw almost a perfect hammer, maybe a little bit too high for Kalavanova. Not sure who's apologizing to who. Not entirely sure who's at fault there, but it is an unforced error. Pastore had acres of space to throw that too, and Kalavanova maybe was a little bit too high for her. Maybe a bit too much zing on that throw for her. Now Lapniece finds Goldova on the line of the end zone, but not quite in. Goldova goes back to Ozolina, who tried to find Baidina, but she moved into a slightly different space, and I've heard Ozolina saying sorry. And this time, Kalavanova with a very good reception in the end zone. Another high disc. She seems to be quite happy to go up for them, especially if they're not as zingy as the hammers from Pastore. That throw was thrown by Cynthia Lepina, if I'm right, to Kalavanova for another defensive break by Ogre Moments. 8-3. Moments are in a commanding lead of this game. Not entirely sure how that can slip away from them, but I'm sure that Hyperflick ladies, as a newer squad, would be happy for a great experience there, and of course try to get their reps in with the competitions. And yeah, Ratsina, the leader, and Lapniece. A bit of a miscommunication, or maybe not a long enough throw from Lapniece there to Ratsina, and that went right into the hand of Gulbe. Gulbe, who is also picking up the disc, now pushes it into the end zone with a nice low release backhand to Pastore, who is happy to grab that disc, and yeah, all smiles, of course. Unfortunately, the body language of Hyperflick ladies is a little bit different. They would be hoping to get a much nicer, better result to themselves, but for the moment it is 3-9. Fortunately, that was another quick throwaway after an attempt of give and go, and this time it's looking a lot better. Ozolina throwing to Rumberga, who finds Krumina in the handling space. Krumina finds Ozolina on that near sideline, a high disc, and that is knocked away by Butane on that far sideline for another opportunity for Ogre, and unfortunately that disc, yeah, was maybe too slow, a bit too floaty, so maybe needs a little bit more of a laseriness towards it. And this time no, that's not Kalavanova, sorry, I can't really see the number on the shirt. 16? I don't think I have 16 on my roster. I'm not entirely sure who that is. In any way, Pastore scored that goal, but I can't figure out who was the thrower. That was Cynthia Lepina. I am being helped by our producer, who is not wearing number 4 that I have on my roster, and she's wearing number 16. Regardless of that, we have our next point, and Hyperflick now working their disc a lot better, and we see a younger player, Baidina, gets the disc and finds Krumina in the handler space. The attack is going quite well. Baidina once again finds herself free, goes back to Lapniece, on that far sideline. Maybe they should swing something into the middle. Can't really find anything, and throws a scuba for a score for Racina. No, not quite a score, as that went out of bounds. Unfortunately, as she landed with her foot on the line. Oh no, not just on the line, but all the way out of bounds, and that is. It looks like. Lapnitz had a very high stall. She had to throw something, and she elected to throw a scuba to Racina. She managed to score it. She managed to catch it, but out of bounds, and that disc went back to Ogre. And they worked it up rather quickly, and then we see a great example of how you should throw scubas into the end zone from Gulbe to Pastore for another break. 11-3 is the story of this game for the moment. Hyperflick coming out with another opportunity for an offensive hold. Lapniece and Ozolinia are moving the disc around, but there is a discussion on the field. I'm not entirely sure what it is about. Probably a bit of a pick. Yeah, I see Gulbe is catching up a little bit closer to Lapniece as one of the players was crossing over in front of her. And now Lapniece throws to Goldova, and I think it was a bit of a misrelease from Lapniece. She's, yeah, her facial expression is showing it all. And Ozolinia now marking Mikulica. She finds Samiete, who found Pastore, and once again Pastore to Kalavanova connection works pretty well. Maybe a little too long for Kalavanova. They are discussing that, but still laughing it off as it is a break for moments. Ladies from Ogre. Another score, and we find ourselves in a match point situation. It is 12-3. Ogre have an opportunity to finish this match if they manage to score another defensive break. I'm sure Hyperflick ladies would want to keep this going quite a bit longer. They would need a hold and then 9 breaks to win this game, which is a tall task. But of course they will try to do their best to do that. Unfortunately, that would not be the way they would want to do it. Unfortunately, that disc was knocked away by the Ogre defender. I think it was Kalovanova with the defense. Mikulica picks up to Pastore, and that was knocked away by Kruminia, who had great awareness and very, very quick hands. Almost hit one of the players, Malderis, who had eyes full of fear as the disc flied right in front of his face. Lapniece now with the disc, and she tries to find Racina, and that works pretty well. That was maybe a bit of a visionary throw. Still worked quite well. And yeah, Racina there manages to hold on to that disc, and Hyperflick are delaying a little bit, maybe delaying the inevitable, but still they are delaying that. Hyperflick with a pull to Moments. All Moments need to do is to just make it clean, not turn over, throw to open players. Samiete with the disc finds Pastore, who finds Butane in the end zone for a score and for a win. 13-4 is the result of this game. Ogre now have 2 games that they won and 1 game that they lost. Hyperflick, unfortunately, losing all of their games. They lost 3 games at the moment. Next up, we have another women's division match between Tartu and Salaspils Frisbee Club. We'll see you in a second. Thank you for staying with us, but don't go anywhere.